This is a spoiler-filled reading vlog for The Will of the Many by James Islington. I do not normally post spoilers on my channel, so I want to be very upfront that the discussions are spoiler-filled and a recap of the book all the way through. Hello and welcome to Books and Matcha. My name is Jen, and this week I am finally reading and reacting to The Will of the Many, and you will see my excitement continues to grow and grow as I am reading this through the vlog. So let's go ahead and get started. Hello, it is Monday evening, and I'm really excited to be reading The Will of the Many this week. I am on page 70. I have two bookmarks here. This first bookmark is where I am now, and this bookmark is where I got the first time I tried to read this. It just wasn't the right time for me to try to read this, so I put it aside, and the second book in the series is coming out this week, so I'll probably take you book shopping with me and we'll get that. I'm hoping to read this week and then hopefully jump right into the second one. So in this we are following a boy named Vis, and that's not his real name, but we don't know his name yet. He's also living in an orphanage, even though his parents are very likely still alive. We just don't know his backstory yet, other than getting little hints and pieces here or there. And in the beginning of this, he works in a prison, and we learn that he can speak a language that he's not supposed to know. And he's also able to touch one of the machines that suck the will out of people. You can imbibe some objects or take people's will into yourself to make you more powerful, and they keep these prisoners on these machines that suck the will out of them, and you're not supposed to be able to touch these without instantly dying. And our main character here is able to touch one, and he is discovered by a high-ranking individual who winds up adopting him and is bringing him. We don't know at this point. I know because I've read a little farther that he's going to wind up taking him to a school, but he has been adopted by this high-ranking official, and they are traveling to the school, but I'm right at the point where the ship that they're flying in explodes, and so they are going down in like a jungle type territory. And this book is just really engaging, and I'm really excited to finally see what all the hype is about. This is such a beloved book, and I'm very excited to be reading it this week. I am hoping to read some tonight, and I will get back to you on what happens next and how it's going for me. Hello, good morning. Hopefully my voice holds. It keeps going out on me. I am not well today. I have called off of work, but I plan to spend the day reading The Will of the Many, so I wanted to check in and catch you up with where I am. I'm actually not that much further. I'm 100 pages in, but we did land in the jungle, and there was a woman there who took out our new adopted dad, Ol Sisser. I need to listen to the audiobook and figure out how these names are pronounced, but she took him out with some kind of special arrow, and she used Vis's, I don't want to say real name because I don't know that it's his real name, but it is the name that he was using before using this, and that is Diago. And she told him that this group of people already had a plan to bring him to the academy, and so she was trying to convince him to come with her for a month because he is not ready for the academy, but he decides to stay on course and escape with his new adopted father. And once they make it to where they're going, he wakes up in an infirmary because he was in a fight with these group of people. He got stabbed, and The doctor in this infirmary was actually the principal of the school that his new dad is wanting him to investigate, and probably this group of people want him to investigate as well. And so there's already a lot of intrigue and things to keep track of. We are starting to get to know more of Vis's backstory, but also Ulcissor's backstory, the guy who adopted him, that's the high-ranking official. We're not just getting more pieces of Vis's backstory, but we're also starting to get pieces of Ulcissor's backstory as well. We learn that Ulcissor has a brother who died, and also Vis, at the very beginning of the story, there's a scene where his dad is dropping him off a cliff, and Vis thinks back to being dropped and looking down and seeing his sister in the water. And she's described as having ghostly hair. So I don't know if she died or if he was able to somehow save her. So there's a lot to keep track of, a lot we're going to learn. I'm excited to be reading this today. I'm really hoping to just spend the day reading this. So I will keep you updated on my thoughts and how far I get and how it's going for me. I'll talk to you soon. When I was traveling the first time I was reading The Will of the Many, I put this on my Kindle so I could read it without having to pack this big book. So I'm pulling up The Will of the Many on my Kindle app, and I have a remote for my tablet, and I'm just going to be super lazy with my Dr. Pepper and my book, and it's going to be fabulous. I am now 20% into this, and we have made it to Ulcissor's house, and there is a lady here, Lenistia, and she is going to be training this for 2 months before he goes to the academy, which is really interesting because the lady who is in the woods, in that forest that they crashed in, who tried to convince him to go with her, was going to train him for just 1 month. And after that, we did learn from Ulcissor how dangerous the academy is. So now he's going to get to train for 2 months with this lady who I'm not sure who she is. She's not Ulcissor's wife because we will meet her later. We know that she's off on a business trip, maybe. I think that she's going to be doing whatever it is she's doing. She's going to be gone for a while. I think he'll be in the academy before she returns. So that's where I am, and I'm just going to have a wonderful day. I'm starting to feel better, so that's a good sign, and I'm going to set this up and read for a while and let you know how I'm getting along in just a bit. What? She has no eyes. Super quick update. I managed to fall asleep after my last update and slept for a few hours. I really needed it, but I am disappointed because I wanted to be reading this all afternoon. But here we are. I am 180 pages in, and I have learned a few things since talking to you last. The main points are Ulcissor's brother. The story behind him, kind of the legend at the academy, is that he thought he killed somebody, and so he committed by jumping off the cliff. But Ulcissor and Lenistia are convinced otherwise. And I also learned that Lenistia is the same age as Ulcissor's brother, so I assumed that they had some close relationship. I don't know if she was his girlfriend or his training partner, his classmate, his best friend. I don't know, but she and Ulcissor are convinced that the principal of the academy, who is Ulcissor's age, is the one who murdered his brother. We have also learned that this is a prince. So the lady that was in the forest Vis struck a deal with somebody in order to make it to this festival and talk to her. And she brought him to someone who he remembers from his past. And that man was referring to him as Your Highness and my prince. So he has told this that what they are wanting him to do is rank really high in the academy, graduate, and get a job in Catan. And it can be any job that's religion or something else, just not military. So that is where we are with this. And honestly, as far as how I'm feeling with this read, I'm loving how immersive this is. I feel like I am fully inside of a story. I'm fully invested in this and what's going to happen. And I think there's going to be a lot of action and things that are going to be fun to read about as well. So I'm having a really good time. And that is all for now. My kids are home from school and my husband is going to be home soon. We'll probably watch a movie or something. But like I said, I'm so immersed in this that I hope I get some more reading time tonight, and I will pop in probably tomorrow. I just walked in from work, but I have to update you on The Will of the Many because as soon as I am ready to settle in, I'm going to be reading this. I am absolutely loving it. I am 250 pages in. I finished reading part 1, which, oh my God, that was madness. So at the end of part 1, the festival that this is at, the high-ranking official that knew his dad, turns out it was his dad's assistant. And during this festival, when they're having an arena of boats that are battling each other, this man walks into the arena and makes this proclamation that all of these Catinian people are enemies of his and his group. And he proceeds to use some kind of will weapon to just obliterate thousands of people at a time, like exploding people to where the bleachers are just blood and sinew and bone fragments. And so this has to help his training partner that he's just met escape the arena. And then he goes back in and he used this stylize something to essentially kill his dad's old assistant because he doesn't think it's right for him to be obliterating all of these people. He put the thing to his neck and the assistant drove it in. I don't know if the lady who's been trying to recruit him expected him to do this or not. She's the one that gave him the little weapon thing. So after Vis takes out this guy that he knows from his past that are killing all of these people, he passes out for days on end. And when he wakes up, he is a celebrated hero and he still has training to do. And he's lost a week of training, but he has 2 more weeks of training and he makes it into the academy after some guy shows up and does some testing of taking his blood and taking like hair and skin and things. But the weird thing about this guy is he put some pictures down and asked Vis if any of them were familiar, and he saw a scene that flashed through his mind when he was touching the guy that he killed. So there's definitely something there. And now where I'm at, this is in the academy, and immediately he is probably set up to get in a fight with one of the other academy members. And Vis tricks this guy into accepting his apology, so Vis did not get expelled from the academy. And right now he thinks that the principal of the academy probably put him in that position so that he could be expelled without the principal having anything to do with it. So it looks like that guy's probably trying to get him out, but Vis still finds this guy extremely charming. So I think that's really the largest things. Oh, one more thing I learned is Lannistia, she is the person that Olkiskor's brother thought that he killed. So that's how she's pretty sure that the principal is the one that killed the brother because she was the one that didn't die. And also, I listened to the audiobook on the way to work this morning and I heard Lanicia and Olkiskor. So sorry about the way I've been pronouncing that this entire time. This has also made a friend with someone who is in the lowest level like this, which is level 7, you work your way up. And this kid obviously is smarter than the rank that he is in, so I'm wondering if he's going to move up ranks with this because he'll have someone there with him. I think that is all the main points that I wanted to mention in this update. I am absolutely loving this, and as soon as I can tonight, I'm going to be diving right back in. It is mid-November and it is currently 80 degrees outside. My husband is outside grilling and I thought it would be a good time to update you before I get too much further into the Will of the Many. I am 418 pages in now. I am 2 chapters shy of finishing part 2. And so I really feel like something big is probably about to happen. And if I get too much further in, I'm going to forget because I'm so excited to update you on what has happened so far. So I'm going to set down this camera and we're going to talk about what has been happening in the Will of the Many this far since I updated you last. Okay, this is how far we are into this. I also want to mention that the text in this book is tiny. So even though it's 600 or 700 pages, the text in the margins are so tiny, I think that it's actually bigger than how big this book even is. So the most exciting thing that I want to talk about are the ruins. So part of this charge from Old Kiesker whenever he sent him to the academy was he wanted him to investigate these ruins. And the first one he goes to, he sneaks out in the middle of the night and he makes it through this very long corridor into this huge room that has hundreds of insets into the wall. And in these cavities, things are lit very green and there are corpses in each of these cavities. And even though they had to have been there for a long time, they look like they were just killed yesterday. And each of them has an obsidian blade through their chest, and they also have no eyes. So it made this and us, the reader, wonder if Lanista and her lack of eyes is tied to what is going on in these ruins. And there was also this really creepy, intense scene where he starts hearing whispering of the words that Olkiskor's brother put encrypted in codes in his letters. And these corpses seem to be whispering the exact same code that Olkiskor's brother was sending home to him. So extremely creepy. And then the academy students got to leave school for a little bit, and the vehicle that they travel in, the Transvec that they fly in, flew over one of these ruins. And so this made a plan to basically jump out of the plane, investigate these ruins, and then make it back onto this plane by getting with Olkiskor and making some kind of a will-imbued grapple that could make him rise back up into this plane. Super cool. But in this ruins, there were more of these corpses with the obsidian blade through their chest. So I can't wait to find out what's going on with that. And another super big surprise is the woman from the forest, who is also the woman that gave him the weapon that he wound up using to stop his father's old assistant, is Olkiskor's wife. Her name is Sidonia, and she goes by a different name as Olkiskor's wife. It's Relucia. So Relucia, Ulquiscor's wife, is actually Sidonia, the lady that he thought if she found him, she would kill him. So there's one more person that we don't know if we should trust them or not. I think everybody has some kind of duality of, are they good, are they bad? Ulquiscor, Viridius, the principal, he seems to be against this, but is he really? Because he keeps giving him information that seems like he's on his side. And now we have Relucia, who is also Sidonia, and this also has friends that he's making, and I want them to all be really good, really solid, really trustworthy friends, but who knows, right? So I'm going to hang out and read the last 2 chapters of this part 2, and then I'm hoping I can fly through part 3 and see what else is going to happen in this book, because so far it's madness. This is also a level 4 student now, so things are going to begin getting more dangerous at school as well. And as soon as I get to another stopping point, I will update you once more. I finished reading The Will of the Many, and I hardly know where to start with this because so much happened at the very end of this, but I'm going to try to go back to the beginning of part 3. So part 3 begins with us going back to Vis's homeland of Seuss, and he winds up staying in the palace that he grew up in, and I'm thankful that he did run into somebody that recognized him from his past, because he was able to talk to this guy and find out what happened to his parents and his sister. And this man had been a witness to the end of his parents and his sister, which was very emotional. It was a very sad part of this book. And while there were suspicions with his other students, because he really knew his way around these lands in the palace, he managed to get out of that situation and make it back to the academy. This is now also in a relationship with Amisa, and they manipulate this girl, Belly, who is in class 3, I believe, into competing for her spot in class 3 in a game of Foundation against Vis. And just before Vis wins, he tells Belly that he will lose if she gives his friend Kalidas back these papers that she's been pretty much blackmailing him with. And so she does, and Vis teaches her a lesson by beating her anyway. And so he moves up yet again. And then Vis continues training and training in the labyrinth. And then we get to the point where the students are to participate in the Lyceum, and they're to pick partners, and they go out and they have these trackers and these safety teams that are supposed to help make this less dangerous. And Vis winds up competing in the real labyrinth during this trial, and he winds up running into Belly, who has been killed, and he goes through this labyrinth and he successfully finishes and goes through these weird metal ring with obsidian blades and these red lights and figures that come and talk to him and tell him to finish the journey. And he gets these burning sensations in his arm, and the first one says wait, and so he waits and these figures disappear, and then the next one starts spelling run, so he runs and he makes it out, and some of these, eyeless figures make it out after him, and he winds up doing a lot of battling, and he finds Amisa, and she is checking him out to see if he's wounded, and she looks at his belly and she just starts crying and shaking, and she winds up stabbing him through with an obsidian blade. And as he is falling to his death off a cliff, he reaches out, and this heart that they're trying to get in this Lyceum competition goes to his hand, and he falls and survives. And this Alupi, I think it's like a wolf-like a wolf-like creature that he had saved previously has grown up and remembers him, helped him fight these eyeless creatures, and he has now pulled him from the river. So Vis is trying to make it back to the academy. He finds his friend Kalidas, pulls him back to the academy as well, and he is in the infirmary, and he also has these visions of people from his past and things that have happened, and he has a vision of his father, and it's another very emotional time where he talks to his dad, and then he wakes up and he is made an offer to join the religion group, and he accepts, and he's refusing to have anything to do with Amisa because he doesn't understand why she attempted to kill him. And we wind up with these epilogues that show us when he was in that real labyrinth that he managed to put his hands on these stone walls, and they copied him and sent him to one place, Obidium, and the other one was Lucium, probably other dimensions. And he is also still in the same dimension that the school is in. And he is linked for now, which is going to fade. In one of these dimensions, he runs into Ulkiskor's brother. And his brother understands what's happening, and he says, we need to save the you who is back in your original timeline. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to carve into your arm that you need to wait and then you need to run. And that's basically how the book ends. So I'm really excited to read The Strength of the Few. I went to the bookstore this week to pick it up and they didn't have it yet. So I'm going to go back and hopefully get it soon so I can dive into that one because I really did love this. I'm going to give this 5 stars, and I'm looking forward to figuring out what on earth happens next. There are 3 Visses. I don't know who is alive in the other timelines, if his dad is there or if his sister is there, what is happening. I guess the strength of the few is that there are a few of this, and I have some other theories, but they're just theories, and I enjoy doing a spoiler vlog of what's in here, but I'm not going to share my theories because I don't want to spoil anything beyond this. And I'm so glad that you joined me. I hope you had fun. I had a lot of fun. Please let me know in the comments if you have read this and what you think. Be sure to like and subscribe while you're down there, and I will talk to you soon.